My name is Miguel Okumura. I am Brazilian from Curitiba. It's a city of the southern of Brazil, southern region of Brazil, that many people from outside may be not familiar with. We have somewhat unique customs compared to the rest of Brazil. Like it get cold here. Our carnival music is rock and roll, and on many occasions, we Curitibans um, are labeled as an antisocial type of Brazilian, although I question the accuracy of that label. Regarding my profession, I'm an electrical engineer and I work in my field in my everyday life. I'm here today with you all as a consumer activist. I have my own journey on how I managed to leave smoking behind, turning my frustration with cigarettes into fuel to create a podcast and gradually become an advocate for tobacco harm reduction. Recently, during a live broadcast on a traditional media channel in which I had the pleasure of participating, and also Alexandro was there too, I commented that anyone who quits smoking through the use of electronic cigarettes generally find this experience so enjoyable that they want to share more and more about it. This insight is not out of the blue. It's based on over 300 hours of recorded content shared by Vaporacast, which is my project, as well as observing the experiences of another content creators and their respective projects, such as Alexandro with Direta and Vaporaki, Luis Otávio with Vapers Brasil, and Marcos Frareso from Zona do Vapor. Furthermore, there are other frequent insights that emerge in the episodes of the podcast, like how quickly the body recovers from the effects of smoking, and it is incredibly and surprisingly fast to the point where people notice improvements even in the subtlest details, such as better breath while playing football or sports, and taste while eating. The shared passion for flavors. There is no vapor in the world who doesn't have a favorite flavor. Just ask any of them. In my case, the flavor who changed my life was a pineapple with cold melon. And from that moment on, I realized that there is no reason to continue smoking cigarette, traditional cigarette or combustible cigarette. And last but not least, uh, we heard frequently the aversion of conventional cigarettes. And yes, it is possible to feel repulsed by the smell of cigarettes again in a genuine disgust. Another observation that cannot go unnoticed is the crucial role played by the vaping community of the people, especially those in unregulated markets. These individuals share a sense of respect and pride in having left smoking behind using these technologies. They will be always the first to respond to the comments on social media, engage with the content, and the first ones to share with friends. This support is absolutely vital. In Brazil, between 2017 and 2019, we witnessed the peak of the Brazilian vaping community. It was very common to see new content creators emerging, and I really lost the count of the numbers of projects involving the wordplay with the term vapor that emerged during that period. Vaporacast was one of those projects. During that time, our inboxes were filled with people seeking information about vaping, and content creators were reaching impressive numbers, up to 50 or 100,000 followers. Many of us believed that we could finally make a living from this by creating content and helping another people quit smoking. We invested a lot of our time and efforts in our lives, and in return, we were able to help many people to stop smoking. However, in the subsequent years and up to the present, we have faced considerable changes due to restrictions imposed by social media platforms, including those controlled by Google and Meta groups, which have been strict regarding vaping related content. This has resulted in a decline in the vaping Brazilian community at the same time as it witnessed the explosion of the disposable vapes on Brazil. The timing could not have been worse. Just when vaping was experiencing the fastest growth in the last years in Brazil, the information provided by creators were being silenced one by one due to restrictions on social media. Sadly, I can speak from first-hand knowledge on this matter. My Instagram account, which has around 5,000 followers, had its access blocked in Brazil. My account it still exists and it still can be accessed by outside Brazil, but in Brazil it cannot. However, the website of Vaporacast is thriving. This emphasizes that when there's a strong community, there's an assurance that the message will be conveyed regardless of the objectives. And speaking to the message and getting to the main point, how to empower the consumer. When I think about communication, I usually consider three essential elements: the target audience, the message we want to convey, and how to deliver it. The target audience, Vaporacast is intended for smokers who want to quit smoking or those who already are vaping. Obviously, it's from individuals from over 18 years old. The choice of being in a podcast is due to the fact that is the fastest growing media amongst adult Brazilians aged to 25 and 30 years. The message in our history since 2009, the Vaporacast went through various stages, but the very best results came when we started sharing interviews with people who managed to quit smoking through vaping. During these conversations or along these conversations, we also address the questions that arise, and gradually we use these stories to demystify and providing valuable information based on consumer experience. Real life stories like this have the power to deeply impact people, inspiring other consumers to speak out in various ways, whether it's in WhatsApp or Telegram groups, or to grow as a new content creators. Furthermore, it's crucial that the stakeholders are well informed. Currently, there are consumer-led information networks accessible to people worldwide. I can easily mention RELDAT with Enrique Teran as one of its members, uh, as well as ARDT Iberoamerica, which gathers representatives from across Latin America. They are in every country of Latin America. And on a global scale, of course, beyond these people of this audience, we have the INCO, the International Network of Nicotine Consumers Organizations. And as a member of these groups, I can assure you that they are always willing to help those who are seeking information. How to convey this information? Unfortunately, sadly, the landscape is not optimistic. As I mentioned, social media is becoming increasingly restrictive with measures to seem further limit the promotion of vaping. Recently, it was announced that YouTube will be removing all health-related content that do not align with the WHO guidelines, which affects directly vaping, as is not approved alternative by WHO. These guidelines are likely to be gradually adopted by other social media platforms following YouTube's example. The solution may lie in returning in 10 years, like in a time capsule, and using websites as a base. And really, that approach worked very well like 10 years ago. So social media can be and it is a powerful tool, but they should be seen as windows and not windows to the core content and not as the core itself. Another notable example is what Asovape Argentina is doing, obviously in Argentina. They initiated a dialogue with journalists, inviting to morning workshops with a breakfast, with the goal of combating misinformation from the outset. This is because journalists, by their nature as questioners, tend to become more critical of anti-vaping campaigns. Furthermore, this approach creates a natural focal point on Also Vaping Argentina for any vaping related topic in the media. This is a brilliant idea that can be adopted by all of us. Uh, we need to be remember we need to remember that even if the media, the big media or the traditional media has not been favorable with us, journalists can and should be our allies, as they have the power to convey the message to the right audience. And about the outcome and what to expect, well, it is not a popularity race. In fact, tobacco harm reduction activism more resemble a marathon where the consumers set the pace. I confess it took me some time to understand the real power, that the real power from change lies in the hands of the consumer movements. And then when organized, we have the ability to sit at the same table with the decision makers. So we consumers, we have to to follow this. In Brazil, the adoption of these strategies and a more humanized communication based on personal experience and backed by scientific evidence has been successful to the point of attracting the attention of traditional media and leading us consumers to be invited on debates. Recently, I had the honor to be invited as a speaker at the public hearing on vaping on the Brazilian Senate, who will be took place in the next Tuesday. In summary, communication plays a fundamental role for the fight for responsible vaping regulations in Brazil. By sharing real experience in seeking evidence-based information, consumers have the power to change the narrative around vaping. Despite significant changes, THR activism is a marathon in which consumers, when united and well informed, can influence decision makers and promote positive changes. It's crucial that we continue to educate, collaborate with the media, and adopt creative strategies to ensure that the voice of consumers is heard and that regulations reflect a science based approach and the reality of those seeking a safer alternative to smoking. And I really believe that together we can accelerate the progress towards a healthy future for everyone. And that's it. Thank you for the time and for the opportunity.